award-giving ceremonies in Malacanang just very recently that we would like to recognize the pursuit of quality in the most profound sense of the word, because it does not only mean a stronger institution, a larger share in the market, or a higher quality of performance, but an infinitely higher quality of life for a number of Filipinos. I am very much honored here in Dynamic Living as we interview the most recent recipient of the Lingkod Bayan Awards 2015 in the form of Dr. Amer Saber and Dr. Luz Barquez Saber. I'd like to welcome you to Dynamic Living, Dr. Amer.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity to be invited in this program, Dynamic Living.
So you can share with us, Doc, how you were able to achieve such a prestigious award. I'm very sure that the people here watching us would like to know more about you. And of course, Dr. Luz, thank you also, and welcome to Dynamic Living.
I'm happy to be here in Dynamic Living.
Yes, Doc, kasi syempre power pair for public service, the Saber legacy. Ito po ang ating topic for tonight. I'd like to ask you first, Doc, you were the most recent recipient of the award from Malacanang. So how did you feel about it?
Well, actually, I have a mixed feeling because I thought that when I received the certificate or the award from the Regional Civil Service Office 10, I thought that was already the award, but only to find out that I would be receiving the highest award to be given by Malacanang. And, it was happy. I was excited to find out that.
You never thought in all your entire years of service, did you ever think na mararating ko rin yan, maaabot ko rin, maging awardee din ako?
No, honestly, I'm not expecting. When I work, I do not expect for any award or rewards.
So what was this award for?
Well, it was about, this is actually the Presidential Lingkod Bayan Award. As I've said, it's the highest award, and it was because of our performance in Amay Pakpak Medical Center.
Okay, so it was related to your work as a hospital administrator, di po ba? And you have been working with Amay Pakpak for how many years?
Well, I've been there for practically more than 14 years, running 15 years.
So what are the award-winning characteristics of an administrator? Sige nga, Doc, you share with us. Kasi syempre, I'm pretty sure na yung mga nanonood sa atin ng mga hospital administrators din ngayon would want to gain that award.
I think it's basically being dedicated to the work. Personally, when I work, I tend to love the work. And there's a saying, if you love the work will also love you. But I so believe that the people of our place really needs my services. And second is, when I work, I do not count the time. It's not time bounded. And also...
So hindi yung tipong 8 hours work. So papasok ako na alas 8 ng umaga, alas 5 dapat umalis na ako.
No.
Hindi ganon.
No, because it's a hospital. There are sometimes calls beyond the office hours. And also, when I work, I do not think of rewards. That's one thing.
So how did you win the confidence of all your staff? Siyempre, when you talk about awards, it means na ikaw as a leader, you have the confidence of the people working with you, di po ba? So how did you gain the confidence of all the members of the hospital to support you in your drive for excellence?
Well, basically, they have seen my seriousness, my dedication in work. And besides, when I want to achieve something, they have observed, in other words, they have seen that the goals that I set are being achieved. And they also realize that if I discipline people, I also discipline myself. I follow exactly what should be the attitude of a leader.
So in other words, Doc, you're walking the talk.
Oh, that's it.
So, ibig sabihin, pagka meron kang policy na gusto mong i-implement, mauuna mo na ikaw.
Yeah, correct. It's leadership by example, in other words.
So, that is what we really need actually. Now, what was the biggest challenge for you in being the hospital administrator?
Well, Amay Pakpak is situated in the northern central Mindanao, where it's different from the metropolitan area, and the situation where you don't have enough resources and you lack manpower, you lack the financial resource, you lack the facilities, and you see the situation of the health condition of the people. And a lot of our constituents or our kababayan are moving to Iligan and Cagayan for looking for quality service. And these are the challenges that I face and, you know.
So, nung nakita po ninyo yung mga difficulties na binanggit ninyo, una, manpower. Pangalawa, sabi niyo, resources. Mahalaga yun
Financial.
Financial aspect, infrastructure. Lahat po ito, paano niyo po ito nalagpasan? In other words, I'm sure na hindi naman yun overnight na nangyari.
Yeah, agree. It was not overnight, but it was a consistent, in other words, looking for strategies and means, because it's not easy to get this support from the Department of Health Central Office. There are a lot of hospitals, in other words. So it needs a consistent lobbying, you know, follow-up, and then convincing the national leadership, the Department of Health, that it is really very necessary. You have to show them the situation, the statistical data, and of course the impact, because situated in the North Central Mindanao, particularly also the autonomous region, this would make, in other words, a show window to the people that the government is sincere. And could this be also a part of the peace process?
Yes, kasi isa sa ating i-address later in my questions would be the peace and order doon po. I'd like to ask muna si Dr. Luz. Doktora, kayo po ang head ng, you're the chief of the Professional Medical Services. Gaano na po kayo katagal na naging chief of professional services?
Just the same with Dr. Saber. Mga 14 years na rin.
So in other words, it's a teamwork between the two of you. Kaya nga sabi namin, power pair kayong dalawa. Minus the wife, the husband would not have been able to reach immediately kung saan siya nakarating. Doc, of all the people in the hospital, you're the closest person, syempre. You're the better half, the bedroom partner of Dr. Amer. Sa pagiging administrator niya po sa hospital, ano pong meron siyang quality na nakikita ninyo which led him to being successful to where he is now?
His dedication to his work.
Like, for example, Doc, sige, can you expound on that?
Like, for example, if dumarating siya sa hospital ng 8 o'clock, umuwi siya ng almost 8 o'clock ng gabi. So pagdating niya sa bahay, yun, dala-dala niya yung mga papilis niya doon. He's still reading the documents that he is bringing with him.
In other words, Doc, his work does not end in the hospital.
Yes.
Wasn't it that difficult also for you, on the part of you as a wife, na hetong asawa ko, dala-dala pa rin ang trabaho sa bahay? Or you were able to just, accept it as part of it?
I learned to accept it, that is part of his work. At saka pag nandiyan naman siya sa bahay, after his work, he's already a different man. Family man na siya.
Talaga, Doc. So maybe you can tell us the difference now.
He already have time to jam with his children because my daughter is singing, and Dr. Saber is also a music lover, so they sing together. And he has also time to play with his grandchildren, especially that these two kids are already playful, so naglalaro silang dalawa.
So in other words, Doktora, si Dr. Saber, pagdating sa hospital at pagdating sa bahay, he is one and the same person. Kaya ako po tinanong sa inyo yan, it's because sometimes kasi people change. So heto yung kanilang attitude pagdating sa workplace, pagdating sa bahay, iba naman sila. So would you say then, Doktora, na as a man of the hospital and a man of the house, iisa lang ang ugali ni Dr. Saber?
Yes. Yung disciplinary niya, he is still a disciplinarian when it comes to the house.
So kayo po ang nagbabalanse para sa inyong dalawa pagdating sa mga kabataan?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Doc, balikan ko po kayo. Narinig niyo po si Dr. Luz na sinabi niya na you really have time also for your family. So how do you integrate that considering na, okay, dala-dala mong pa nga yung trabaho mo from the hospital to the house. So how do you separate the two?
Yeah. Dr. mentioned that I bring my work at home. But once the work is really done at home, I shift to, in other words, to being a father, to being a husband, because that's still part of my being a family man. So I guess that's it. There should be time also for singing, there should be time for preparing sometimes for food.
Does it not affect your family, Doc, na you have so much weight on your shoulders in terms of responsibilities sa hospital? Like for example, syempre minsan maraming problema kayong inaatupag sa hospital, sa work ninyo. It's a huge institution. There are how many beds now ngayon sa inyo, Doc?
We have 300 beds right now, and we're moving 400 beds by next year.
So how many people are under you for supervision? Approximately ilan po ang staff
600.
natin ngayon dyan?
Well, right now we're more than 600.
So, considering na ganun kalaki ang hinahawakan ninyo na responsibility, does it not, weigh heavily on your shoulders na, heto ang bigat-bigat ng dalahin ko, ang dami kong problema. So, pagdating ko ng bahay, ayoko na naman ng problema.
Hindi, parang siguro sa akin parang naging normal na sa akin yun eh. When you're enjoying your work, as the saying goes, when you learn to love your work, there's no work.
So, kumbaga, it's just fun.
Yeah, you enjoy it, no? And problem are just, they just come and go.
So, how does Dr. Luz help you achieve your goals?
Well, basically, she's part of the organization, and she has his part in the responsibility being the chief of the medical professionals. So, in the management, of course, one way you can enjoy is there should be delegation of the duties and responsibilities. That's where you also unload yourself, and people take care of other problems. And that's it, where Doctora handles the medical services. At yun, nakakatulong siya. Even also at home, may share din siya sa pagiging family wife, no?
So ngayon po, Doktora, ano kaya ang weakness or weakest trait ni Dr. Amer? Ano yung kanyang weakest link sa kanyang ugali, sa tingin mo?
Yung weakest niya is if hindi niya makita yung mga anak niya at saka yung mga apo niya. But for as long as pagdating niya sa bahay, they are there, na happy na siya doon.
So parang, how do you distress yourself, Doc?
Distress. Meron namang mga friends din dumarating. And then by talking to them, with just a couple of drinks, I'm already out of that responsibility, And also, when we come to Cagayan de Oro, nakakapunta naman kami sa mga mall at kasama mga bata. So it is a different, in other words, world na.
So you learn to separate your work responsibilities with the other things in your life. You have learned to compartmentalize that. Now, Doktora, of all the awards na nakuha ni Dr. Saber, which one is the most important para sa inyo?
Yung Presidential Award.
At bakit po?
Because it's the highest award that an official of the government can achieve.
Ano po yung feelings ninyo nung nalaman ninyo na awardee si Dr. Amer? Pangalawa, when you were there, right at that moment when he was receiving that award, what went through your mind?
I was very proud. Because he's bringing the name of Amay Pakpak.
Yes, opo. So in other words, you now brought Amay Pakpak in the map of the Philippine healthcare. Kasi marami po tayong mga government institutions, na hospitals, and yet here you are, you bagged the highest award. Meron pa po ba kayong gustong marating aside from the presidential award?
Well, there are in other words, organizations like the Philippine Medical Association. They had one time asked me to submit my documents, and it was the PMA local chapter that sent the documents. And I was part of the 4 who would be, in other words, screened for the Jose Rizal Award. But the reason probably I was not able to get it because I was not able to go to Manila for the final interview. And there was also, my sisters are also telling me, you might qualify for the Ramon Magsaysay Award. Honestly, I don't know, but I have not thought of it. They are the one pushing me because probably they're also convinced, just like the Civil Service Commission, who realized that my performance has really achieved the national
The beautiful
recognition.
thing, Doc, with what you have, what you made in Amay Pakpak is very simple. You made a hospital, a government hospital at that, be at par even with the best private hospitals in the Philippines. And you already said that you were committed, you were dedicated. But aside from those traits, Doc, what could have led, you achieving that goal?
I guess, it's because, basically it's a calling. I realize it's a calling. And I was supposedly bound for U.S., but, it did not push through. So I said when I found out I'm going to stay in Marawi City, I said I should see America in this area. So I should have an institution that more or less will be at par with international standards, which is already becoming true because we already passed the first stage of the ISO audit. I think that's it.
Doktora, when you were still young, sa balikan natin yung mga nakaraan ninyo ni Dr. Amer, when you were still students, medical students, then you started your practice and then you opted to go to Marawi to be with the people there to serve the Maranaos. Did you foresee, nakita niyo po ba, were you a visionary na you saw na hetong maliit na hospital na to ay palalakihin naming mag-asawa so that we can render the services for the people there? Or parang hindi niyo na-imagine yun nung araw?
I did not imagine it at that time. But as the time goes on, nakikita ko na kayang-kaya niya yun palakihin. Kasi there were already support coming from yung mga co-workers namin. So, at saka, palagi siyang pinipili naman pag may mga choices yung mga superior namin. So, at saka nakita ko na he will really succeed at saka marami pa siyang marating because of his hardship. Talagang at that time na nakikita ko na yung dedication niya.
And with that, Doc, you gave him all-out support.
Yes. All the time.
All the time. When we return, Doc, we'll take a very short break. We will now continue discussing your journey towards being where you are now. Kasi syempre, may pinagsimulan yan eh. At saan patutungo ngayon ang inyong leadership at ang hospital? Kasi syempre, it doesn't end with one huge success of being a recipient, but there will be others that you have in mind so that you can bring it further to where it should go. We'll take a very short break. Please stay tuned.
We are people, and we love to get connected. We connect as families because of birth. We connect as friends because we click. And we connect as communities because we care. Seventh-day Adventists are people who connect in communities called congregations, which in turn connect to form conferences, who connect together to form unions, divisions, and the General Conference. Why do we connect? It starts with a connection to the Creator, who invites us on a spiritual journey. When we journey together, we can help each other along the way. This journey is a journey of a lifetime, and as we learn and grow, life becomes filled with meaning and purpose. Our greatest joy is in helping others along the way. Wherever you are on your journey, we believe that we have something to offer that can make your life more whole. So the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, you're not looking at someone who stands alone. They are connected to a world church that has 18 million members, gathered in 13 divisions, comprised of 122 unions, formed by 600 conferences, serving in 140,000 congregations in 208 countries, who worship in 924 languages, and they all want to connect with you.
Welcome back to Dynamic Living, the Total You, with our power pair for public service, Saber Legacy. Alam niyo po mga kaibigan, hindi po ordinary na maging isang couple to be able to do public service and for them to achieve as such, not only because of the award that they got, but because of what they have done in the hospital right there in the Boondocks. That is truly amazing. So I'd like to welcome back to my show my guests, Dr. Luz and Dr. Amer. Dr. Amer, being an outstanding public servant, kasi outstanding public servant yun Lingkod Bayan awardee do you think that we have enough of this kind of people in the country today, like you, as dedicated and as committed as you are?
I don't know exactly, but if we have more than enough, we will not be in this kind of situation. I guess people has to realize that our country needs more dedicated leaders. We are facing a lot of problems in the country, and it seems like every turn of the time, these problems are getting worse. You see, there are three major problems in the country that's left unaddressed. One is corruption. Number two is peace and order. And number three is poverty.
And it also affects and impacts our hospital.
Right, basically. So, I don't know, but there should be two things that should be considered in public service. One is prioritization of all programs, and next is accountability.
And let's talk about prioritization, because I think that's what you did in the hospital. When you say prioritization, you mean that if this is the most urgent that should be done, it should be at the topmost of your list.
Considering that the financial resource is not enough, so you have to think about prioritizing your program. So
what about accountability, Doc? You mentioned accountability, and maybe I should add there transparency also.
Yeah, transparency as accountability. I guess if a public servant is considering accountability as very basic also and very important. In other words, you would be providing the quality service. Every program that you make, it will turn out to be quality. Because the program money for that particular activity has been spent well. And besides, I think this is a problem in the country because the accountability is not considered as part of the end portion of the program.
So dapat kasali siya. So
Kasama
whether
siya
you're a
talaga.
leader for a hospital, healthcare, or other government agencies, it should be part.
Yes.
Meron pong binanggit sa akin, I'd like to quote one person who said this, that Amay Pakpak received only so much in terms of budgeting, Doktora. Pero bakit na-attain ng Amay Pakpak yung stature na meron siya? Ang sagot ng isang tao is, very simple, wala silang Dr. Amer Saber. Okay? So that made a huge difference. Now, let me ask you, Doc, you have had a lot of awards in the hospital. Why do you aim so high?
Well,
What drives you to aim so high?
I don't know if that's really aiming high, but siguro hindi naman na nag-aim talaga ako ng so high. Sa akin lang, gusto ko lang talaga na when I work, it should be quality. That's siguro yung the love for work, you do not know that you are going beyond the expectation of the people and the standard. I only realized, in fact, this award, I never thought that I would be receiving that award. I never thought that I would be receiving a presidential award. Siguro that's what I was asked of that question. I said, yun na nga, pagka pala nagtatrabaho ka and you love the work, hindi mo na napapansin na marami ka na palang nagagawa. At napapaganda mo pala yung resulta ng trabaho mo.
Yes,
That's
yun
the
yung
one.
pinakamaganda na sinabi niyo, Doc, na pwedeng pagandahin ang trabaho natin, pagmahal natin yung ginagawa
Yes.
natin. I'll ask Dr. Luz. Dr., wasn't it difficult for you to have an overachiever husband like Dr. Amer on a personal level?
On the personal level, hindi naman. Kasi talagang ganyan ang ugali niya eh. He's really an achiever. So, ayun, ay natutunan ko na rin yun na naka-adjust na rin ako. Yun kasi ang ugali talaga niya.
So, Doc, to have bagged a national award like that, no? Meron ka pa bang gustong marating para sa hospital at para sa sarili mo? Let's start with for the hospital.
Yeah, actually, marami pang kulang ang hospital. That's why I'm surprised na marami pang kulang at na-appreciate na siya at napansin na siya sa national level. But you see, there's still a lot. First and foremost, we're right now on our journey. That is the ISO international standard, which we have already achieved the first level of it, no? We're already in the second level, that's you call it. So, maligaya ang mga tao kasi parang napupunta na kami sa international standard. Pangalawa, of course, we have to achieve the third level category of hospital. It should be a teaching training hospital, and we have already achieved one. The obstetric gynecological department has already been accredited for training. And I'm giving a directive by next year, all the three departments should go also for an official training. Then the third is we are considering other special areas to be established. One is we are offered by the Philippine Heart Center to become the mini heart center in northern central
That
Mindanao.
alone, Doc, is a huge leap for the hospital.
Oh, sure.
To be there and be recognized by the Philippine Heart Center.
Yes, I was
to become a
surprised.
satellite
Yes.
heart center for that area, Doc. That's a huge, accomplishment already. And what is your time frame for that, Doctor?
Well, as far as the operating room, we have two operating rooms that is set for the thoraco-vascular surgery. I think by December, baka matapos na namin. And then I have asked, we are just fortunate that one of the Maranao doctors, Dr. Ali Makatano, has finished his training in thoraco-vascular surgery in the heart center. And in fact, no less than the head of the director of the heart center has texted me that he is offering that this mini heart to be established in our area. And also the assistant or the deputy assistant director of heart center came over, Dr. Manso.
Yes, so
And he was surprised to see the operating has already been started. And accordingly, this will be finished by December. That's where I asked Dr. Makatano to provide me the list of vascular equipment. And probably the difficult portion there is to buy the heart-lung machine, which I'm trying to find out where to
Pero
source
there's
the fund.
no problem, Doc, kasi for as long as there's a Dr. Amer Saber, kakayanin po. Dr. Luz, tanungin ko naman po kayo. Sabi ni Dr. Amer, in terms of manpower, in terms of doctors, specialists, which is your area of expertise, sa tingin nyo naman po, with that, in the area na kayo ang may hawak niyan and nagagawa nyo naman ang inyong dapat gawin yan, you think, Doktora, you believe na with the coming of all these dreams of Dr. Amer to move forward pa the hospital, kayang-kaya pong abutin yon?
Yes, kayang-kaya. Because there are already a lot of diplomats and fellow in the Muslim community who are already with us. And also, we're also inviting for those who are not a resident of that place. And right now, they are already coming one by one na.
Okay. In other words, Doc, they have heard about the hospital and they would
Yes.
want to be part of it. And so, Doc, balikan ko po kayo. Your father was also a figure way back, di po ba? He also had his own way of establishing a legacy by himself. And you followed his footsteps. Sa tingin niyo po ba, namamana po yung leadership at yung galing ng tao at passion niya for his work? Or sa tingin ninyo, hindi niyo namana sa kanya yan, kundi by your own, you were able to achieve that?
So, I would say we're both doctors and mayroon naman talagang trait, di ba? So siguro may trait ako nakuha sa father ko being, yung dedication niya for the work. And I've seen that when I was young. And my father is, the late Dr. Mamito Saber, is a doctor of philosophy in sociology. And he achieved that in Kansas University, United States. And also, he is a Fulbright scholar. And during his time, kukunti lang Fulbright scholar. And they have, in other words, the idea to establish Mindanao State University, he was instrumental there. Para
So,
sa
sa
akin,
lahat ng traits na meron ang tatay ninyo po, when you saw him while you were growing up, which particular attitude or trait did you get from him? Na sa tingin mo, pag nakita mo yon, you will always think and look back na, heto yung namana ko sa father ko in terms of work.
Siguro naman ako
Discipline.
yung discipline at saka yung pagiging devoted niya sa work, pagka yung talagang focus na focus siya. At saka siguro yung pangalawa, parang hindi napapagod. Yung
Para
nakita ko
walang
sa kanya.
kapaguran.
Walang kapaguran, yeah. That's
Parang
not
ikaw
all the
din,
time.
ngayon.
Yun na-realize ko na parang it's with me. But again, another one is it's not only a trait probably that I got from my father, but siguro na-achieve ko rin. It developed in me yung the love for the work, yung leadership, para i-develop in me.
Doc, we know na you weren't born in Maranao, di po ba?
Yes.
It was by marriage. Doktora, where did you get your zeal or your passion to serve the Maranao people? Kasi not everybody would have that passion in themselves. You could have opted to stay where you were, o kaya naman go abroad and look for greener pastures there. And yet you stayed behind and stood by Dr. Amer. Where did you get that passion, Doc?
Kasi nakakaawa din sila. Because at that time, there were only 1 or 2 doctors
Correct.
who are staying in the hospital. So with me around, we were already 3. So we took turns in our tour of duty. So pag umuwi yung iba, ako ang naiiwan because I'm just staying in Marawi. So I've learned to love my work. So I stayed there for so many years hanggang sa natutunan ko na rin. I already know to speak the dialect, no? So natutunan ko na rin yung culture nila. So yung mga attitude ng mga pasyentes because practically hindi rin nila alam. No, wala din silang alam. So we have to make adjustments, so give orientation to these patients. And also, by the time also, yung mga pasyente naman, they also learn to love us. Kasi walang ibang doktor at that time.
Kayo yung nagsimula doon, di po ba? Doc, kayo naman, where did you get that zest or zeal to serve your people?
Basically, alam mo naman, lagi nani-neglect naman yung southern portion, more particular sa autonomous region, di ba? Kaya nagkaroon ng mga rebelde dahil isa din yun sa dahilan. So, I have seen practically, I have compared the situation in Luzon and Visayas because I studied there, I was there, at nakita ko na talaga napabayan. So, doon ko na-realize na itong mga tao to na nangangailangan talaga ng tulong. At saka yung, of course, a lot of cases as are being brought to Iligan or Cagayan health facilities, sabi ko, kawawa naman sila. Kailangan, may government hospital naman dito. I think we should work on making this hospital a better hospital to address the problem.
Kasi po pwede naman yung attitude, Doc, na okay, andyan naman ang Iligan, andyan naman ang Cagayan, karatig lang naman namin. We could just remain in mediocrity,
Correct.
just do the service. And yet you went beyond and far more than what was expected of both of you. Doktora, do you expect your children to live the same way you do? In other words, yung passion ninyo to serve the Maranaos there as a doctor, as a specialist, gusto nyo rin po ba na yung mga anak ninyo ay ganun din po ang gagawin nila, na they really have to serve the people there?
Yes. Gusto ko rin silang makatulong. In fact, Amilo is already working as a nurse with us. So, ngayon, she's on training sa CdeO kasi wala naman tayong trained na nurse sa CdeO. I wanted her to help them so that hindi na sila pumupunta sa Iligan or in Cagayan de Oro.
What about you, Doc? Would you want your children to have that goal in their lives, to have the same achievements as you have?
Oh, of course. Of course, we wanted that the service that we're giving to the people will not end. If only up to my grandchildren, they can follow. I hope that the awards that were, in other words, we have received, it will be left as a legacy. It will be a guide to the younger generation.
So what would you like them to remember you for? As a father, as a grandfather?
As a father and a grandfather.
Yeah.
Of course.
Father to your children. So what would you want your children, Amilu and
Yasin.
Yasin, to
of
remember
course,
you for? And then your 2 grandkids and maybe some more grandkids
Yeah.
coming in. What would you want them to
For-
remember na,
for-
kumbaga, when they always think about Papa or Lolo, they will always think about this.
Isa, to be remembered as a good public servant, as a good model, and then also to be remembered as a good father also, and a good godfather, a
Kasi
loving father.
hindi po lahat kasi would want to be remembered as a good father. Magkaiba po kasi yun eh. Kaya ako tinanong sa inyo, for you to say and admit that you would want your family to remember you also as a good public servant speaks a lot on how you deal with them on a day-to-day basis. Kayo naman, Doktora, how would you want your teachings or which of your teachings, kasi kayo ang nanay sa bahay, in the same way kayo din ang nanay sa hospital. Unahin natin ang sa bahay. Ano po yung gusto ninyong matandaan ng mga anak ninyo sa pagdisiplina ninyo sa kanila or yung mga itinuro ninyo sa kanila?
I always, first, I always teach them on how to be systematic doon sa mga gamit nila at saka doon sa mga day-to-day schedule nila.
In other words,
activities.
organized masyado sila dapat.
At saka, yung dapat magtulong-tulungan sila because if they can start it at home, they can do it also outside.
Yes. Pero as a doctor po, ano po ang gusto ninyong ihabilin or which of your teachings sa mga doctors na hinahawakan ninyo na dapat heto ang kanilang, palagi they have to live on this on a day-to-day basis?
As a doctor, ang palagi kong sinasabi is, tingnan nyo kung ano ang mga problema or the needs of the patients. Yun sana ang unahin nyo. Tapos, you have to serve them.
So service first before anything else. Opo, Doc, balikan ko kayo, Doc. Ano po ang mga challenges sa tingin ninyo na, kumbaga, nalagpasan nyo na eh. Sinabi nyo yung mga challenges eh. Are there still some more challenges na you foresee in the future na you will meet along the way?
In my career,
Yes, as a hospital administrator.
I already mentioned that we have not yet achieved the highest level that we should achieve. And I mentioned some which further on subspecialties. Because nowadays we just don't need a general practitioner. There are a lot of emerging diseases, right? And also, right now, we are just establishing the dialysis unit. And I would like to see in the future that we can perform a heart bypass. We can
Which
perform...
is not far, di ba?
Yes,
Kasi
that's right.
sabi niyo po kanina, by December, matatapos yung
Yes.
operating room. And you have already the trained specialists to do this. So it's easier now for
Yes.
you to be able to operate that.
So in other words, if you have a case, a Moro is having a heart attack or a myocardial infarction, don't tell me that we have to bring the patient to Oro. It would like time. If it could be done there to save life, why not? Another thing is we are going to open up the dialysis unit. And there are a lot of Maranos that are having their dialysis services in Ilig and Cagayan as far as Manila hospitals. So, of course, I'd like also to see that we can do a kidney transplant. And I'd like to establish also an eye center. My son, to be honest, it pains my heart. I have a son who has a case of, in other words, Usher syndrome, and his vision is getting lost. Only a very small percentage is left. I'd like to establish an eye center. In fact, somebody's suggesting a stroke left center. So, not only that, but probably a school for the blind.
In other words, Doc, lahat ng plans ninyo na yan will happen within the next how many years from today? So, ang next
Before
question...
retirement.
Yeah, so that's the next question po. Kayo muna, Doktora, do you see yourself as retiring from your work?
I don't want to retire yet.
Okay. So, sa tingin niyo po, pag magre-retire kayo, it might, not be productive kasi marami pa kayong programs na gustong gawin.
Yes.
Aha.
Marami pa sana.
What about you, Doc? Do you see yourself retiring?
Well, I'm not yet tired. And I guess the institution and the people still believes, I still believe that they need me.
Can you imagine may pakpak without you?
As long as, you do not control destiny or you do not control the situation, But what is important is I have set the rule and I've set the model. So probably anybody who would just who would be assuming the position when I finally retire. So in other words, they cannot just do anything else. No, other from what I've done.
You are the trailblazer, so to
Very
speak.
case.
In
That's a
other words,
standard,
yeah, you are the standard bearer of
Bearer,
whatever
yes.
changes you
Yes.
have made in a may
Yan ang
pakpak.
legacy maiwan natin.
Yun ang legacy na iiwanan niyo po. So what kind of a leader for a may pakpak or a may pakpak would need in the coming years, supposing you are already in the retiring stage? Anong klaseng leader kaya ang kailangan nila? Should the leader be like you, as dedicated and committed as you are? Or do you think na they would need somebody else who should be even a better visionary than you are?
Well, of course, kung in the modest level, pero siguro katulad ko na. But it would be better if there's still a better leader, no, to run the hospital, so that it would continuously give quality service, and probably it can even surpass other facilities in the country.
Kaya ko po tinanong yun because it now goes to show your answer that you are such a humble person and you are very happy and would be happy to have somebody else take over.
Yes.
And yet, you know, you might be there to guide this person still. Now, Doc, let's go in the macro image now. Nasa hospital pa lang tayo. Punta tayo sa
micro
bansa
level.
natin ngayon. Macro level naman tayo. What kind of leaders should the country have?
Well, mahirap kasi magsalita ng personality, but there are good qualities I see in
Yes.
some leaders. Dapat yung leaders na magipapalit sa next administration, they should be leaders with proven probity. They have, in other words, a track record of good management, of running the affairs of the government in their own respective areas well, where there is good governance.
So-
What we need is our leaders who can give good governance, basically.
So, Doktora, what kind of workers dapat meron ang bansa natin so that, you know, we can move forward?
Dapat they should be also law-abiding workers, and also the attitude towards work, and huwag na sana yung maraming mareklamo.
Mas maraming sinasabi kaysa ginagawa. So, dapat ganun ang maging attitude ng
Attitude
mga
ng mga
workers,
workers,
ng ano, I mean, whether it's in the government or in the
In the
private
private.
sector, para tulong-tulong lahat, we can attain what we are supposed to attain. So, pagdating naman po sa citizenship natin, in terms of, tayo mga Pilipino tayo lahat and as each person, as each Filipino citizen, may kinocontribute tayo for where we are going. So ano po dapat yung ating attitude towards our country as a whole?
Dapat yung morality din natin, at saka yung pagbutihin natin yung pagtrabaho natin, at saka yung pag-aral din. They should give also importance to education para they can also achieve at makakuha din sila ng magandang mga trabaho.
Alright. Doc, heto ngayon, we know for a fact that sometimes Marawi, being set apart from the rest of the country, you know, mahirap puntahan minsan, at saka maraming mga kwento na it's not safe at all. How would you now, as an ambassador of goodwill, for the people of Marawi or as Muslims in general, how would you like to tell our people, our viewer, na heto, we are very safe, we are friendly, we are peace-loving?
Yeah, yun ang problem because the autonomous region or us there were being negatively profiled. But if you're going to look at the situation every day, even in the newspaper or in the television, watch the news, halos mas maraming kaso sa labas kaysa Marawi City. And in fact, there are a lot of doctors right now, hindi lang kami naman ang nagtatrabaho doon. May mga Christian doctors doon. And ang pangit kasi is, when there's an incident in Marawi City, it's being magnified, no? It's being, parang na-stereotype. But actually, I'd like to invite everyone to go there and see for yourself the situation
And
in
visit ang
Marawi
May
City.
Pakpak Medical Center.
Yeah, not only but my but the whole of Marawi City and Lanao Sur. It has a very nice scenery. It has a nice climate. You know, we have the lake to talk about. At saka, yun, the Maranao people basically are, you know, peace-loving.
If there is one thing that you would request the government, the Department of Health in particular, because you're in the healthcare business, if there's one thing that you would like them to do for a May Pakpak, what would that be?
Siguro, tumulong sila na magkaroon kami ng medical tourism doon para people would be attracted to go there. We can provide it also probably yung mga cosmetic surgery and all the rest, where people can see for themselves, no? Not just the services, but the place, the situation.
And for them to get to know our
Yes, yeah.
brothers and sisters who are
Correct,
Maranaos. Doktora, ano po sa tingin ninyo ang pwede pang gawin sa hospital? Aside from all that the Dr. Amer has mentioned, what is there as a woman doctor, as a lady doctor, as a mother, at the same time as a resident of Marawi, and the mother of all the specialists in the hospital? What is there pa na you would wish for the hospital?
Parang nandiyan na yata lahat.
Continuity po.
Gusto ko sana na yung mga the people of Marawi can also enjoy the facilities that we have here in the metropolitan areas. O dapat madala din doon sa Marawi yung mga
Magkaroon ng mall.
Magkaroon ng mall sa loob.
kasi wala ngang mall doon.
Maybe in the near future, Doc, who knows? Because ang May Pakpak, what was it, di ba? Nung araw, it was a very small hospital with
Yeah,
humble
correct.
beginnings. But look at where you have brought it, where it is now. It's something na we can be truly be proud of what you have done for the hospital. Napakabilis po ng oras ko dito sa Dynamic Living. Salamat po for, the doctors here who have shared their expertise with us as a power couple. Kasi hindi naman kaya ni Dr. Marion kung wala si Dr. Luz. And I'm very sure that both of them are very proud for helping the hospital. So, Doktora, ano po ang pwede ninyong sabihin sa ating mga viewers? Would you like to invite them to go to May Pakpak?
Yes. Huwag kayong maniwala na yung Marawi City is that risky. Hindi, because ako personally, I am a Cebuana, diba? And I married a Muslim, which is Dr. Amer Saber, and I wouldn't risk living in Marawi City kung hindi naman safe ang family ko. So, come and see Marawi City.
Yes, Dr. Amer.
Yes, that's correct. Kung talagang ganun talagang situation, we will not be staying there and have our families there. And yes, we like you. I challenge everyone to see a May Pakpak. I'm inviting you, in other words, not only a May Pakpak, there's still a lot of things that you can see in Marawi City. The nice scenery. At saka, the Mindanao State University, by the way, is there. No? So, in public service, siguro sa akin, well, I've just mentioned about it, but let's go by the saying of the late President John F. Kennedy. Let us not ask what the country can do but let us ask what we can do for the country.
Yes, napakaganda po yun na ibilin natin sa ating mga viewers na it should not be the country doing good for us, but tayo, kasi kung tayo, tulong-tulong tayo, we can achieve so much more. It is a joy to behold our friends from Marawi being able to achieve excellence in all aspects in the healthcare industry. It is now the best time for us to understand also that their achievement is our achievement. Despite all the troubles surrounding us with all this terrorism, this discrimination and everything, we see a power couple here trying to tell us that life is beautiful even with them there and with us together. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.
the seed sown produces a harvest, and this in turn is sown, the harvest is multiplied. In our relation to others, this law holds true. Every act, every word is a seed that will bear fruit. Every deed of thoughtful kindness, of obedience, or of self-denial will reproduce itself in others, and through them instill others. This is the principle in action with the Integrated Evangelism Lifestyle Program.
Mas maayod siguro nga baka join sa care group. Parehan ako, gaan ang akong kanang huna-huna, gaan ang akong mga problema nga mabot sa ko pag maka-join kani-ani, maampuan manggudta sa care group.
Ipa-feel nimo nga part jud bitaw ang amo ang family sa simbahan sa SDA.
Daghang kaayuhan, daghang answer sa prayer, daghang mga milagro, mga healing. Makita nila ang unsa day kalab ni Jesus ang katawhan sa Dios. Nadasig ko pag-ayo to attend or join good sa care group family.
So, i-encourage na ko, kitang tanan ng mga members sa atong church. Mubuhat ta kay di naman madugay ang panahon.
With IEL, Adventist church members go out in clusters called care groups.
Every Seventh-day Adventist family to become a caring family.
These care groups are sowers in essence, going out, spreading seeds of compassion, sympathy, and love through visiting individuals and families, nurturing relationships, enriching lives. The Lord says, "Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters." To sow beside all waters means a continual imparting of God's gifts. It means giving wherever the cause of God or the needs of humanity demand our aid.
Makapadasig kayo ni nga buhat kaning pag-care sa mga pamilya, labi na kanang lunay mga balatian. Kung amo gani silang awitan, malipay sila niyang bangay mahila.
Kana pong murag nag-backslide na katong uban pod nga dili pa mga Adventist ang bisitahan.
Nalipay ko nagamit ang talento sa pag-awit kung sa may Bible study, magkanta.
Grabe jud kadasig sa mga grupo. Pag unsay tabangan, pag ingon nga magka-tent meeting ta pili atong kinahanglan. Dali ra kay mag-gather ang kwarta.
Naami daghang nadala sa among pag-care sa maninoy-nay nga gawas sa among silang awitan gitukuran among silang balay.
Daghan kay mga challenges. Inspirasyon po sa mga kauban nga kung naluya na gani ang Pangulo niya, dasig ng mga kauban. So, munang ni last gyud ang tud-ani nga time.
Ang buhat sa Ginoo di gyud mauntang.
Pero ang nindot lang gyud kay nakakatuon og humility, forgiveness niya. Tamo nga dunay conflict, tamo nga mo grow ang love.
Gibati na ko nga nahimo nga part sa buluhaton sa Ginoo.
This method of sharing the message of hope in practical, modern ways hails from an age-old philosophy practiced by the revivalist himself, Jesus Christ. It is when we have touched a life and shared Christ's love and compassion that we have become arms to his ministry. And more than this is wrapped up in the sowing and the reaping. As we distribute God's temporal blessings, the evidence of our love and sympathy awakens in the receiver gratitude and thanksgiving to God. The soil of the heart is prepared to receive the seeds of spiritual truth, and he who ministers seed to the sower will cause the seed to germinate and bear fruit unto eternal life.
May God's grace sa iyong panalangin nga bugaday pa jud og daghang suod nga mga relasyon o daghan pa yung mga precious souls.
joy, which money cannot buy.
And very hospitable, and most of all, big part of your operation.
Dynamic Living returns with new episodes now on Mondays 6 to 7 p.m. Dynamic Living, the Total You on Mondays.
This is the kind of beauty that goes deeper and lasts longer.
Dare to live well with this new show. Dare new episodes on Sundays at 11 a.m. Replays on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, also at 11 a.m. So don't dare miss it.